So this all happens, right? And then they sit down at a table, and the lion, the rhino, and the zebra look disapprovingly at the little monkey. And the monkey's working away doing his thing. And he looks up and says, "What, me? Don't look at me. I never touched the pizza." Rob, it's a funny joke. Hey!
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Digital Download and our weekly look at things digital. And what we try and do is all learn from each other and learn from you. And so what we're going to do is do a quick round of introductions. I'm going to go around as it's on my screen. So, Rob, do you want to do it first? Rob.
Good morning.
I think there's a bit of a delay with Rob.
Rob Durant, founder of... Pardon?
I think there's a little bit of delay with you today, old chap. I think there's a little 4 or 5 second delay.
We've got a satellite delay with you.
Yeah.
Eric.
Because you're
I'll
floating
try and
out
freshen
there.
up things. Why don't you horn?
No worries, no worries. Hi, I'm Eric from Crux, based up here in Aberdeen in Scotland. And yeah, absolutely, we're partnered with DLA Ignite.
And Tara.
Hello, I'm Tara Argo, and I'm based in Norman, Oklahoma, right in the central part of the United States. Yay!
Yeah.
And
it's really hot here for those that are
interested. This is your first panel session, isn't it, Tara?
Hi, it's my first one. Mm-hmm.
Big time.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Linwood Ross, founder and CEO of Accelerate, partner of DLA Ignite, based just outside of New York City.
Ooh.
And Adam.
I was only joking. I'm not really lagging.
I actually thought you were frozen.
You've got me then.
Hi, I'm Adam. I'm Tim's business partner and co-founder of DLA Ignite.
So today we want to take your questions, and we've actually put out a request on Wednesday of this week. If you've got any requests around leadership or digital, anything like that, happy to take those. Before we do that, Eric's going to tell us a little story that he's picked up on the week. So Eric, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, thank you. So I just wanted to share the story about Kabane Lame, or as he's better known, Kabi by his nickname. Hi, Beth. Good to see you. Can I share my screen? Can I do that? Is that a thing? Let me see. Kabane Lame. This is the story, right? Before I go and share my screen. Early 20s. He was born in Senegal. His family, when he was 1 year old, moved to a housing project in Chivasso in Italy. Pretty down on their luck, you know what I mean? Just he got a job later in life as a teenager working in a machine shop, machining metal. And during lockdown, during the pandemic, he lost his job, and that was a major source of income for the family. So much to his father's upset, who wanted him to go and get a job, he started falling into a little pit where he was just filming himself on video games, playing on the Xbox. So he started filming these and putting them on TikTok. And it wasn't really doing anything. It wasn't really happening. He says in his little biography that in 1 month, he got 9 views and 2 likes. But he kept going, and he had an idea. He had an idea to do a little thing. For anybody who's on TikTok or on Instagram or anything, these reels, you see these life hacks. You know, these people that show you how to do something or do something crazy. So he does a little duet with them in total silence, just with a bemused face, and then does the thing really simply.
I've seen him.
Yes,
actually.
yes.
He's got a lovely face, hasn't he?
Lovely face, and he sits
really
there like this,
friendly,
bemused, while the person's showing you this really cool thing you can do with an eggplant or something like that, and he's like, he just picks up the eggplant, cuts it, puts it in the bowl, and goes like this. So let me just can you see that?
Hold on.
We can
now.
Yeah.
Right. So Kabane Lame, known as Kabi, lost his job, everything going badly. Started 2 years ago. Now remember, the guy is born in 2000. He's 22 years old, right? He then starts to produce these little TikTok videos that are debunking these supposed life hacks. He now has 146 million followers on TikTok. He's the most followed person on the platform, right? He's got a net worth of $5 million from these videos that he makes. He's in demand all over the world. He gets flown to Venice for the film festival. If I do this, can you see this? Let me see. Can you see that now? Is that changed? Has that changed the screen?
Still the wiki page.
It's still the wiki page. So let me come out of there.
I think normally you have to reshare it, Eric.
Reshare. Okay, I will do that now. Let me see. So yeah, pull that one off, Tim. You can get rid of that one.
Yeah.
We'll remove that source. So I'll reshare this one here. This is his actual TikTok page that I'm going to share now. Microsoft Edge tab. So here we go. So
I like the fact that Rob's got some post-it notes above his door.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just so organized. This is the guy's TikTok page. You can see videos get 50 million views, 80 million views, hundreds of millions of views, and he does these debunking things that he's showing. I'm going to get rid of this because I want to show you his 4 tips to success for everyone. These are crucial, right? So I'm going to remove that one, and I'm going to put this one up. Kabi Lame's 4 tips to success for anyone. And he's talking specifically to people that are immigrants from other countries, but this works for anyone. I think this is absolute genius from the guy who's the most followed person on the planet on TikTok. So Tim, if you could push that one over.
Yeah.
You see that? Okay. So this is 4 lessons you can learn from Kabi Lame's success. An amazing story, 80 million followers on Instagram, in demand around the world for doing these little, I mean, if I play this, it's as simple as this is what he does. Let me know if it's playing. He does. That's what he does. Now he puts his success down to the fact that he doesn't speak at all. So it goes across the world. Everyone enjoys videos. He speaks Italian and he speaks Senegalese. So these are his 4 tips to success for international students. Simplicity is a vital ingredient to success. There's nothing fancy about what he does. He almost represents authenticity over production. He says, I think it's very appealing to scale to people that this feeling of someone's not trying too hard. It feels authentic. Keep it super simple. Self-confidence is a superpower. When he started posting TikTok videos, only 2 people watched him, his father and his neighbor. In 1 month, I got 9 views and 2 subscribers. But he just kept on and he found his little niche, debunking these things. That one there's a guy showing you how to hacksaw through a DVD player to get a DVD in, and he just takes the DVD and puts it in the machine and then goes like that. Third one, you don't need an expensive setup to be successful. He has built this empire, this global social media empire and all this following with a phone. With a phone. 146 million followers, $5 million net worth. You don't need an expensive setup to be successful. And the last one's really nice as well. Always have someone who has your back. His Regio Alessandro, his manager, is there for him all the time and helps him out with something. And he saw that there was something in this guy and just told him to keep following this. So just a reminder, simplicity is a vital ingredient to success. Keep it simple. Self-confidence is a superpower. Just, he was quite self-conscious when he first did it, but he got into it and he thought, right, I'm just going to do my thing. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to do my thing. You don't need an expensive setup and have someone that has your back. So I just wanted wanted to share that story in case you didn't know about him. Most people in the world do know about him, but he's incredible and he's so humble. He's so thankful, and he says, "I'm just never going to stop. I'm just going to keep doing it." Wonderful,
brilliant,
great story. Great.
Sorry for blowing your ears off with the spaghetti video.
So just a reminder, today we're taking people's questions. We put out a post on Wednesday asking for questions. So we've actually got some already, but we're looking for some questions coming in from the audience today. I see that Mark has posted one already, which is interesting. What do you do when most people in leadership roles don't actually understand that they are actually a leader? I don't know if you've got this from, if there's a slight bit of cynicism here, Mark, but anyone like to pick this up?
Managing up is difficult, but you need to be very clear on what is expected of you and what you expect from them being the leader that you're reporting to. But don't expect too much either. You know, you may need to have your resume ready.
Well, Karen Brady did a great post this week about exactly that. And she said, there's a big difference between management and leadership.
Yep.
Yeah. And she said, she described it, and I'm paraphrasing here. She described it as managers are very good at helping to empower people and ensuring that things have a process and things get done and all of that. Leadership, she said, you may find that you are the only person that has the vision, and your job as leader is to get other people to follow you to help make that vision a reality. And I think that often the two are confused, aren't they? You know, there are some great leaders out there, but a lot of the people that take those leadership positions are good at doing things, but it's almost as if they're treading water almost. You know, there isn't any real direction of travel. We see that again and again in large organizations where the focus isn't, you know, Apple would be a great example of this. It had incredibly visionary leadership when it had Steve Jobs. And since then, it's been a very well managed, very effective, very profitable company. But actually nothing new is coming out, is it?
I've seen it before where the old strength in numbers and the villagers coming together, if it's that bad and there is like an udderless leadership cycle going on, I've seen it where, and it's not going to work in every organization, where a couple of people have got together, garnered a little bit of lobbying and politicizing, and actually gone with a very humble approach to say, can we just have a chat, please? Can we have a chat? And that particular person was flabbergasted because they were a leader that was also a manager. He had manager things to do and was getting lost in the management, the leadership. The company felt udderless, and he didn't realize. He didn't realize. And when this group came and said, listen, we're only saying this because we care. We need some leadership around here because the wheels are getting wobbly and there's things falling off the bus, and we need some leadership there. That changed the whole cultural dynamic. It's not going to work everywhere, but I think there is power in actually hitting it head on and going in and sitting down and saying, we're not saying we're all quitting or that you should leave, but we need to do things differently if we're going to survive today.
Mm.
I've been on boards where we've always had a discussion about leadership or management, and the classic is that people will say, well, the salespeople need to be doing, I don't know, 5 or 10 meetings or whatever it is per week, and so no, we're the leadership team. It's the managers that have to measure whether the salespeople are doing what they're doing. This is about leadership, and there's a big difference in the two.
Very much so.
And any other questions from the audience, apart from one from Alex, who certainly asked if the Victorian factory manager was going to be taking a.
He's always present and present in all of us, but he's very small. He's very small these days. His voice is very quiet. What's that? What's that? No, back in your box. Back in your box.
But for those that don't know, the Victorian factory manager is the persona that Eric sometimes takes on when he goes back in time to what leaders were back in the Victorian times.
It's a little voice inside me that occasionally says, you know, like when someone comes in and says, listen, I'm on a flexi day tomorrow and I'm leaving at half.
You're late
today
for work.
Yeah, exactly. There's a little tiny bit of in all of us is like, I need everyone to be here at 8 and stay till 5. But it's much quieter. It used to be larger. He used to be larger. He used to be standing there with his big Isambard Kingdom Brunel hat on with a stopwatch and a time and motion study. But he's much quieter now.
So it used to be half day today, and now it's half day today.
Now it's can I come?
So I've got a question which kind of leads on from the from Mark's question, which is one around certainly individual contributors. How do I get support from my projects internally?
Ooh.
It's one for the panel.
I mean, I'll take a little bit of that. I'm kind of like Eric. I believe that, you know, we just have to ask for it, right? Like we just have to go in and ask for it. I know that sometimes can be very difficult, but that's really the way to move forward, is just to go in and ask. I mean, they can say one way or another, right? But if we don't ask, we're never going to know.
Yeah. And I think just adding on to that, in your ask, make your ask compelling. Get the data, get the evidence in there, get the studies, you know, beat the issue with dates.
Numbers speak volumes. Especially if those numbers start with $signs.
Yeah.
If you can justify the cost to revenue or anything that relates to money, you're more likely to get them convinced.
Do your homework and present a compelling case, evidence, just drenched in evidence that makes it so compelling that not doing it is going to seem rather foolish.
And giving people some degree of ownership of it. You know, if this is your project, Eric, I have no interest in it. If this is our project, I potentially have a lot more interest in it. So helping to take people on that journey, I think.
But what a great point from Tara. Just ask. Don't sit and wonder or worry. Just get in.
The thing is that the thing about leadership is that you can't be the person that has all the answers.
Correct.
And you know, the moment that you're a leader, you move away from the coalface. And therefore, you're in a situation where you may not be knowing about the things that are going on a day-to-day basis. And therefore, when someone comes to you and says, I think we need this, and here's the business case for it, isn't that just that's what we want? We don't want the person to come to us and say, there's a problem. What we want is someone to come to us and say, here's a solution. Then
you know, the depending on how big your initiative is, the first thing I would say is that you need to start small with whatever it is that you're wanting to do. The second thing you need to do is use your own social capital within the organization to try to cull some resources, recognizing that you actually want to be pretty quiet about a new initiative, because almost any place in the organization, you're going to encounter some resistance to whatever it is that you're attempting to do. So until you can demonstrate some success, you want to be, you know, pretty quiet and keep things pretty tight in terms of what you're working on until you can demonstrate some success. Because once you can demonstrate success, then you'll be able to get others to join, and you'll be able to grow your initiative from there. So always remember, whenever, it doesn't matter how great you think it is, it doesn't matter what the numbers look like, somebody in the organization is going to resist your attempt to change the way things are.
And that's a good point.
Anybody ever worked on the data, presented the case, got all the compelling argument about how it's going to make lives easier, as Robert says, how it's going to enhance the organization, it's going to take roadblocks out of their processes, and it's going to make us more attractive in the market. And anybody ever heard that idea being fed back as the CEO's idea at a meeting?
Yes.
I've already come out of your mouth and then get repeated.
I have a vision that I see this as the fundamental going to change the way we work. And sitting there like that. Do you know? Do you? Amazing.
I worked with somebody who stole it, all the whole of the team's ideas and presented them as himself. And then he turned around and said to the team, why don't you come up with any ideas anymore?
Eric, there's a video in that.
There is, isn't there? John and Jason and Jamie.
Go ahead, Tara.
Oh, no, I was just going to add something to this. So when I would set up my committee table, I had, executives and leaders from all different parts of the oil and gas industry here in the state of Oklahoma. And when we would sit together, I would often, before I would go into that, if I was going to present something, I would think about how it was going to benefit each one of them. And I would present it in a way that was compelling to each one of them so that they would buy into it. But I literally very strategically placed myself in a way that I could do that before I ever walked in there, because I knew each one of them sitting at my table was very, very different. And they were all very interested in different things, whether they were upstream, downstream, midstream, whatever it was. We had different things. So I would just go in strategically before I ever, and maybe that was a good thing or not, but I'll tell you, it allowed me to learn to sit at the table with a lot of people that were totally not like me.
That you're actually touching on a point that's really important. This is actually a rule of thumb that you can use when you're trying to do anything in any kind of organization. I learned this actually from Greg Sattel, who's a transformation expert. In any meeting, whenever you present an idea, you want to make sure that you're in the majority, so that a majority of people already agree with you or already want to go that route. Because if you're not in the majority, you'll get shut down very quickly. So you want to orchestrate majorities when you're trying to initiate change in an organization.
Does that mean you go to lots of people before the meeting? So you're actually having meetings?
Yeah, whatever you need to do to make sure that when that meeting comes together. So if you can only find one other person to join with you in your idea, your next meeting is a meeting of 3. Because you got to be in the majority at every step of your journey. As you're building your initiative, these are generally change initiatives today. That's almost always what we're talking about. Whenever you have a meeting about anything that you're doing, you want to do your best to orchestrate a majority.
I think that was a really good point made by Mark. By Andrew there, when he said, due to my lack of confidence and presentation skills, my ideas will be overlooked, even though they are beneficial to the company. Actually, I don't think the issue is ever about whether or not they're beneficial to the company. Further to your point, Leonard, and yours, Tara, it's whether they're beneficial to the people that are sitting around the table.
Yeah.
Because nobody, actually that isn't true for us as a group, but largely, particularly the larger the business, the less people care about the future of the business. They only care about the future of themselves. So absolutely, there has to be a personal win in something for somebody to want to sponsor it, doesn't there?
That's right.
Yeah.
Another thing too, Linwood, that I would say to that would be that I would listen at the table for quite a while before I would even decide to bring something up. So I would listen and listen meeting after meeting. And then I would say, okay, so it's pretty apparent that this is an issue or that we need to, to move forward in this way. So therefore I'm going to start constructing, the people that are going to be on my side. And it worked beautifully. I mean, every single time, but it's not always about presenting it right then. Sometimes you have to step back and really wait for the right time as well.
Yeah, you have to be strategic, and they really call it. I'm learning all these things as I'm building my business. These are lots of things that I didn't know before that I'm learning from mentors and advisors about how to execute these change initiatives and what works and what doesn't. But when you're selling, I think most of the people here are in sales, making the person that you're selling to the hero of the story, the hero of the narrative, is going to benefit you tremendously in selling them, right? Because, if at the end of the day, they're the person that saves the company, they're the person that, basically is the hero, then they're more likely to go along with it.
Great answers.
Yeah, fantastic.
So here's a question for you. Another one I got in on DM this week is, what's the difference between demand generation and lead generation?
That's a cracker.
That's a great one. Who wants? I mean, I'm sure everybody has an opinion on that. No.
My whole business life in corporate was all outbound. right? My whole sales life was outbound, trying to get people to, we got the yellow pages, we went through it, we got we bought the database and we went through it and we said, right, they're a great company, they're a prospect of ours. Let's try and get in there and let's try and stand outside the windows going, we're really good. We're really good. We might be cheaper than your competition. And then to get that meeting was classed as that little lead, you know, so there's a bunch of people there, you know, a database full of names with some leads. They're warm, they're cold. Some of them are red hot. The whole demand generation piece just blew my mind because it changed my whole perspective about everything. How do we make all of our prospects out there, even those who don't really know us that well, absolutely want and need to work with us?
I think, yeah, I think the key thing here is that all, and all is a very big word, all of the existing or the legacy mechanisms for doing that have completely failed now. All of them. Yeah. So all of the ways that you would have generated demand, you know, all of this nonsense about it creates a bit of background noise in the marketplace. No, it doesn't. You know, I'm thinking about your videos here. I should put me silly wig on and say, you know, well, it's about visibility, it's about recognition, and it's about, yeah, it's just utter nonsense because these things don't work anymore. And it used to be the preserve of people with deep pockets. You know, I'll just buy more visibility.
Yep.
But now think about your guy, Lamy, that you showed at the beginning of the session here. Gone from 0 to 14 million people. He gets 80 million views on each of his things. Yeah, you find me a brand that does that. There's not a single brand anywhere in the world, irrespective of how much money they spend doing this. And I think that this is a really crucial seismic shift in people. You know, outbound doesn't work in the way that it used to work. And in fact, it doesn't work at all, does it? What you do now is you try to generate people walking towards you rather than chasing them. I said this to somebody the other day on a call. I said, you know, finding customers is like finding, you know, trying to get a cat to give it a stroke. You can either sit there and you can wait for the cat to come to you, or you can have a go chasing it around the room. And one of them ends up with you getting bitten and the other one ends up with you getting something to stroke. And actually that's the way that it works now, isn't it?
I think the biggest thing for me in practical terms about this whole shift from lead gen to demand gen is this whole piece around building influence in that space, particularly on social. So instead of just every Tuesday and Thursday putting up the corporate post on the company page, how about actually starting to write content around about that address the issues that you know your prospect base are suffering from, the pain points, and how you creating insightful content around how you're addressing that and how you're doing it in new ways using maybe smart tech or clever thinking or clever maths or whatever in a cost-effective way. You're going to be the compelling answer to their problems. So that whole shift in the practicalities of it, I just think it's brilliant.
Until you put your pitch in that same content, and then you've lost the audience.
Yeah, because nobody wants to be sold.
Yep.
There was a great question from Nuala there, but I can't quite see it because there's
how
a glitch.
Important is community in your, and then it trails off. Is there any way to?
Yeah,
oh, there we go.
Perfect.
How important is community in your sales strategy?
We've got the community goddess sitting down here in Terra with your community peeps, or your business peeps.
Yeah, I think community is absolutely crucial. And matter of fact, you guys were talking earlier about confidence, and I believe that confidence really is part of community as well. So I would say that it's a huge part of it, right? So there were oftentimes after I came out of my career, there were lots of times that I just didn't, you know, when I came into the online space, because there were no boundaries and I could work with anyone, I needed to have a community that understood me, right? And that could come alongside me. And I think that is really critical that most people don't even realize that is part of that confidence as well. As we begin to sit at the table with people that are not like us around this world, that plays a critical role, I believe.
Yeah,
it is
I would say that if you're looking to build your business through LinkedIn, in particular. That's my focus, but I think it's true of all social media, but I haven't really studied as much as I've studied it on LinkedIn. Community is absolutely critical. And I'm going to go sort of tech for a minute here. The way that demand generation works on this particular type of technology is to basically push out content, right? Based on the amount of engagement that you're receiving. Okay. Now, if you're a person that is trying to get the viral post and you're posting things that aren't particularly useful, it's going to be very challenging for you to build a community around that. Community is about people engaging not just with your content, but with each other in conversations, and doing using a particular kind of methodology creates something called, forgive me for this, creates something called a growth loop. And a growth loop works just like compounding interest. And that's why you want it, because you do the same thing consistently over time and it continues to return to you something more. That's why we love compounding interest, right? And when your content is like really not very good, it's not thought-provoking, it's not offering any value to your audience, that's like putting 1s and 5s in your compounding interest machine. But when your content is really good, it's really thought-provoking, people are really engaging, that's like putting honeys in there, the Benjamins, every day. Okay, and that's going to yield much more.
Just quickly,
I'm just trying to keep it. I'm keeping it dollars and cents, right?
So the Benjamins is what
I'm talking about. The difference.
Benjos, man. The Benjos.
Yeah. What denomination is a Benjamin?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking U.S.
Yeah,
that's the Queens.
I thought it was Cockney rhyming slang.
Well, when he said a growth loop, I thought it sounded quite painful.
It rhymed with something, and I was trying to work out what it rhymed with.
Yeah, so
anyway, that's the importance of community. It's tremendously important, and I have looked at. This is really top of mind for me because I'm going out to investors to got to be able to explain this stuff. But I have looked at numerous tools that are used that are offered out there, whether it's Duck Soup or any number of tools, and none of them accomplishes this growth loop.
Because you can buy an audience, you have to earn a community.
Yeah.
You have to earn it. You can buy an audience. We can all do it. We can all go and buy the scraping tool and get, woohoo, 50,000 followers. But the big difference, earning that community is absolutely. If you'd come to me in 2017, though, and this is the point that I feel as if I relate to the average company leader in my sector. If you come to me in 2017 and said, "Hi, I'd like to talk to you about social media," first of all, I would have sent you out the office. No thanks, I'm not interested. We're an engineering company. We've got no place on social media. I would have probably said, because I didn't understand it back then. If you'd sat down and said, "Right, here's the deal. As an engineering company in this heavily sort of like engineered sector, it's going to be really important for you to build a community around about what you do and all of your team on social media. That's what we need to do, because that's going to change your business lives." Now, the tears that would have been running down my face with laughter would have skewed my vision. I probably wouldn't be able to see it anymore. Build a community on social media that supports what we do and changes our business lives. Get out. Victorian factory manager would have been loud and proud. But what happens when we do it? The leaders in their sectors now that are building that sense of community around what they do in engineering sectors, tech, SaaS, automotive, engineering, whatever it might be, are pulling away. They're pulling away from everyone else. They've got fans. They've got fans. Who would have thought? They've got fans that actually support them in what they do. That's where the referrals come from, the introductions, the chat, the solutions, the requests for proposal, and the purchase orders are coming out of that community that's growing with them. Love it. Great question.
Let's talk about that idea of earning, right, the audience, right, and figuring out the content. Okay, that is so important, and it's often overlooked, because when you're experimenting every day, you're learning, you're understanding what it is that your audience, your prospects, what they want, what matters to them, right? And when you start to see a engagement, when you start to see that response for them, that thing that's coming up from the inside that makes them want to make a comment, now you know you're onto something. And you know, people laugh. I don't think people take me seriously when I talk about it. Kim Kardashian is I shared an article a while back now, maybe it's 6 weeks ago, about how Kim Kardashian became a billionaire. And what she realized with her Instagram was, now she's selling clothes or makeup, okay? She realized that she had an immediate feedback loop, that she could put something on social media and get back from her customers exactly what color, which style, and throw that into production.
And you can relate that to any of your businesses, right? Any of our businesses. We can relate that story. It's amazing.
You know, and that is the tremendous, tremendous power of building a community using social media. I don't understand why more executives don't see how powerful this is. But anyway, it's a must. It's a must.
Because I don't sell clothes and I don't sell makeup.
No, but
that's the
closed-minded
attitude. Of course it does. But you say you can't understand why more executives don't think like that. Eric was that executive in 2017.
Yeah, no,
he was selling engineering services, not makeup.
The reality is that in B2B, the marketing, sales, innovation loop is broken. And the way that you repair that is through social media.
So any more questions? Anybody else got any more questions?
I've got one for you. I'm just pulling up her post from, I think it was yesterday. I don't know if Jess is online, Jess Flack. Jess put up a post yesterday, and I thought this was really interesting because sometimes I think we talk about, we mention things and maybe don't dissect them as much as we perhaps should. Great point, Vanessa. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Jess Flack posted yesterday, and this is very brave. I want to be an influencer. Right? I want to be an influencer. She said, but not in the way you might think. It's a lovely post. Influencing people to buy products isn't my thing. I don't have that kind of follower clout, but I can influence change, collaboration, and communication. I thought this was excellent. Come to think about it, I bet you can too, or perhaps you already are. And she's asking for support. She wants to be an influencer in change, collaboration, and communication, and she's saying it loud and proud. But my question to my learned colleagues is, one of my favorite words of the moment, what is influence? And to our brilliant community here today, what is your take on influence? Now, Jess is saying, I want to influence, but not in the way, I don't want to be like, you know, selling makeup and sneakers and all of that. And it's not all about a massive follower count and daft selfie content and all of that. She wants to influence people to change, collaborate, and communicate. But what is influence?
But we all have influence, don't we? I don't mean we all, people on the call. I mean, everybody has influence. Does. You know, whether that's Kim Kardashian and it's 50 million people, or whether it's, you know, your...
Should I go and see the latest Top Gun film?
Yeah. Or it's your 3-year-old that influences you to buy them another ice cream. Everybody has influence. And actually, I think that the challenge that most people have is that they don't know. And obviously, Jess's comment, absolutely, she's articulating what she wants to be known as being influential for. Most people haven't gone through that thought process. So, you know, I want more followers. Why? I want more influence. Why? What do you want to be famous for? You know, what do you want to be known for? And if you haven't got that lined up, you can't dress yourself and speak in an appropriate manner to generate the influence in the areas that you want. And the reality is, you know, if you've got 1 million followers, but you can't pick them up and send them to your shop, there's no point in having 1 million followers. So you have to be able to mobilize them to take action, either action to spend money with you or action to change, like Jess is looking for, or action to believe something else that they don't currently believe. And I think that's a journey that we're all on. And the idea of building influence is about building that credibility and building that regularity You know, you're not going to be influential if you publish one thing a month about something which is roughly about what you want to be influential for. You know, you have to say, this is what I'm going for. So I'm going to publish really regularly, really targeted stuff about this topic, so people make the connection in their own mind between what I'm talking about and what I want to be known for.
We all have influence, lowercase I. We've all shared, oh, I saw this movie, and that might influence whether or not someone else sees it. Influence, capital I, is the intent to drive a behavior change. Yes. The intent to influence somebody to take the action you want them to take, whether that's for commercial ends or you're looking to drive more energy around a cause, a charity, whatever the case may be. Capital I influence is about intent, really, doing influencing intentionally.
Or unintentionally. You know, I remember when Kylie Jenner, and we used this as a case in one of our talks, when Kylie Jenner said, I'm so over Snapchat, when they changed their interface and wiped $4 billion off the market capitalization of the company because of that. Now, you might say, you know, Kylie Jenner, what does she know? You know, she's not a business person. You know, she's one of these vacuous, pretty people that get sponsored by Louis Vuitton or whatever. Well, if just I like sorry,
just like yourself.
We're very kind of you to say so.
Sponsored by Superdry.
That's closer to the mark than you would know. But my point is that you know, all of us together, aggregated, our entire lives, we will not have as much influence on commerce as that one comment that she tweeted.
Indeed.
And I think that's the point here. The point is that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. People set themselves up as being influential, but they haven't created enough traction to actually be able to get people to change their behaviors. And like you said, you know, whether that's changing behavior to come and spend money with you, or to do something differently or act differently, that's where the art comes, isn't it?
And just a side note to one of our listeners today, Suzanne Todd, you've got more influence than you'll ever believe. And keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. Absolutely. And lots of people are listening and lots of people are watching. Absolutely. But don't you just love how this whole influence thing is getting down to the very, like, this, it used to be people influenced you to go and, you know, go on a particular holiday or go to a particular show or whatever. But I love the way it's actually down in the finer wires of our lives. If Tara goes to book an Uber or a Lyft and she looks on the cars and one review says, this guy's really good, he gives away cold water and mints and he's a really safe driver. And the other one says, well, this guy's a bit smelly and he drives too fast and his car's a bit sort of broken and banged up. I'm going to be influenced to go with the other guy. But that's people and humans that have influenced me to do that. If I go to a new city or a town and I look at
a total stranger has influenced you, yes.
Total stranger and a group of comments from the world are now influencing my decision. If I go to book an apartment in a new city and one says, I think the spy cams in this one, there's just something weird about this apartment on Airbnb, or the other one is absolutely fantastic, it's close to town, it's really safe, the owners are great, I'm influenced in my decision. This whole thing about influence and through social media and through social support, the ability now to influence other human beings' decisions is, even Netflix influences me. Hi, Eric. Welcome back. People in your area are watching this. Do you want to watch the same thing? Oh, yeah, I watch the same thing as everyone else. Yeah.
You know, this is, I mean, one of the things that, you know, really is just stirs inside of me that, you know, motivates me on a daily basis, right, is this idea that for so long, so many people have been sleepwalking through life because they feel powerless to do anything, to change anything around them. But today, because of social media, with some commitment and a desire to make a change, a willingness to learn and grow, you can make a difference. You can make a difference.
Like Larry, the Uber driver, he made an impression on Vanessa, didn't he?
He really did, yeah.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate for Larry, you know. But anyway, so that's what I would say, you know, to people.
And And actually, to say that, though, I would even say that some people don't know that other things exist, hence what happened to me, right? So I grew up in rural Oklahoma. I had no idea that this online space existed. Then I discovered it at the beginning of the pandemic, and I thought, oh my gosh, you mean I can work with anyone? There's zero boundaries. This is the most incredible thing I've ever experienced. But growing up, you know, you're taught to go to college, get a degree, work in corporate America, like that's life. And I was at the point that I was like, you know, this can't be all there is to life. But so many people, if they've never been exposed to something, they're never going to try it, right? So I did that in Oklahoma a lot for kids. I said, the more I can expose them to stuff, the better their chances are. Right.
This is the thing, you know, there's a sea change has occurred as a result of this technology. So, you know, I grew up the exact same way, thinking that you had to go this certain route and do this certain thing, and you weren't, or otherwise you wouldn't get exposed, because I've always wanted to deal internationally. And, you know, when I was coming up, the way to do that is you had to become like an international lawyer, or you had to do, that would be kind of the only way that you could get to. But, you know, in the last couple of years, you know, my international exposure has, you know, I mean, I don't even know what the statistics are. So you can do that today. So what we have to do now is really evangelize. We have to get out there and let people know. Tell them, show them, so that they can kind of come out of it. I mean, I think that social media and remote work, I'm speaking for the United States. I don't know that much about what's going all around, but it just might save this country. It just might save this country, because people in the middle have been lost.
But that sounded like a Gordon Gekko speech there.
Yeah,
it did. Lenwood, did you adhere to the only 2 coffees for Lenwood before the download rule? Did you? Truthfully, did you have that third one?
Well, you know, we got onto what, and then I got up on my soapbox.
Brilliant.
So I get there's a question here that I've had about influence, which is kind of similar to this, which is, our competitors are building influence within our prospect based on social. We are not. How do we turn that around?
A deep and meaningful conversation to start with. Proper in the room, sit down, some hard mirror gazing, and some proper warts and all chats with the management team and the leaders in the business. So
right. Without buy-in, everything else after that is useless without buy-in.
Yeah, totally.
So let's say they get that buy-in. What's the next step?
Well, they need to understand the dynamics of how these spaces work, don't they? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the things that we know as a business from the analyzing that we've done is that, you know, corporate profiles don't get engagement. Personal profiles do get engagement. So if you want to get traction, you need to encourage the people to mobilize their networks rather than hoping you can do it as a brand. Because let's be honest, I love you, I don't love your company. And that's the fundamental nature of how relationships are formed, isn't it? Oh. And recognizing that you, with your influence, you know, you influence 20 people and you influence 50 people and you influence 250 people. Well, together, that's the strength. And within an organization, if everybody is being themselves, engaging their audience, maximizing the amount of influence and recognition that they have, and by default, the business they work for has, that's the most effective route to market. And we've never seen that not proven.
What I'm hearing there is the brochure has to come from my post, not my reposting of the corporate post.
Yeah, even the word brochure is a nasty word, isn't it? It's like a profanity almost these days.
I'm just glad Priscilla's not here. The words trifold brochure are banned at Little Bird. But I think for me that question has to be, and this is it might sound disrespectful what I'm going to say, but it's not, because they are absolutely crucial to the success of this. But the board, the conference room full of the board members, need to realize that this is their responsibility, not the marketing team's responsibility to fix this. And I mean that in a very positive sense. This is the board's responsibility. Every single person who's got a shareholding or a desire to lead that company through the future must accept responsibility for this and not just say, well, we'll just get marketing to do a bit of stuff on social or whatever. Bring that into the boardroom, put it right center on the table and dissect it and work out what training are we going to need, what processes are we going to need. This isn't just a bolt-on that marketing will do. This is a fundamental restructuring and rewiring of the way that you create demand for your business and prospect and network and grow influence online. And that shouldn't be just left to the people who have a budget that they've spent half of to go away and fix. Bring it into the boardroom and give it proper leadership focus.
And every time that you have had a runaway success with this in businesses that you've worked with, Eric, it's where the board has led by example.
100%.
You know, people, you know, it's like when you're trying to teach a child something, you know, they follow the example that they see. You know, correct. So telling them not to do something if you're doing it simply doesn't work. And it's a recognition for everybody within a business that this is about you doing things differently. That's you doing things differently, not you doing it. Every person has a role to play in this.
So I think that question, which I think was our competitors are building influence in our prospect base, what should we do about it, is first of all, take that as seriously as our business is failing and our competitors are wiping the floor with us, because that's what that means.
Yeah.
That's what that means. We are being left behind. We are becoming irrelevant. That's that serious.
It is that serious, yes.
Yeah. That comment by Bill,
very profound.
That comment is, I mean, it could not be, and we see this happening today. We see CEOs, they don't even realize it, how they're showing themselves on social media by tweeting these ridiculous statements about things like, or even like Mitch McConnell in the United States saying like, well, as soon as the recession hits and people start losing their jobs, then we'll be able to get them back in the office. That is the mentality.
Did he not say it like
you'll be coming, you know, CEOs saying you'll be coming back, you'll be groveling back to us for your jobs when the, you know, and wow. I actually responded to a CEO who said that yesterday on Twitter, and I just said, I doubt it.
Well, that was a much nicer way. It was a much nicer thing to say, wasn't it, than are you an idiot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Times have changed dramatically, and the organizations that stop, you know, for lack of a better way of saying it, objectifying their employees as a means to an end, which is filling their pockets.
I once worked for an organization, really quickly, I know we're running out of time, where there was an issue with the culture. It was becoming rather toxic, and there was a them and us thing, and there was them and us and them and us and them and us, multiple them and us. It was just falling apart. And the CEO came up with a great idea at the board meeting that we should write a procedure for fun. Got the quality department in to start writing a procedure for fun. We're going to define fun, and we're going to program it in, and we're going to write a procedure for fun, and people will laugh.
Eric, I'm looking
and have a good time.
I'm looking at my spreadsheet here, Eric, and I see that you're down on smiles this week. Can we address that in the review?
I do 5 now. Can I stay?
You got to get those smiles up. Get those smiles up.
I might not have smiled enough, but I'm sitting here as a project manager dressed as a clown because it's Clown Tuesday.
Yeah. There's cake in the break room.
Yay! My goodness me. What's next, Tim?
I was enjoying that. Yeah. What about LinkedIn is for work and not personal stuff?
Well, obviously.
Well, the person who goes into work and only does work, if we were to do an organizational network analysis, would find themselves on the outside of the network. I mean, who goes to work and only does work? There's no jokes, no telling of the personal, nothing you did over the weekend.
Sorting your dry cleaning, sorting out your holiday.
It's just ridiculous.
And if we expect people to only show that one side of them, there's something wrong with us, right? Like that doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the, you know, there was a time when we put on our work uniform and Monday through Friday, we were this work person and we only showed certain things at work. And then on the weekend, we were like somebody completely different. And I can remember in the early days of Facebook, when kids were showing this party side of them, and everyone was saying, you know, admissions committees and different things. They could see all this stuff on Facebook. Well, the reality is that now applies to, you know, all of it, the whole world. Everybody's on some kind of social media. And we've got to now be integrated people. Integrated people. We can't think that we can be one way in the office and be another way at home, and that's going to fly. We got to remove the masks, be integrated people, and just our whole selves as much as be appropriate. I think there's some things that aren't appropriate.
And if you've got any white papers, you can recommend it to Vanessa. She's looking to read some.
But that whole, I think, and what we're talking about publicly now is forget this whole my business content and my personal content. Forget it. When you layer the two over each other, the bit in the middle is, as Andrew said, it's all about your life. We produce life content now. It's a mix of our specialisms, our history, our qualifications, our perspectives and thoughts and insights. And that insight includes into what I'm like as a person. And you can make selections based on me as a person. You can make judgments. If you look at my content, you will see inside my life, which includes my specialisms, my interests, my hopes, fears, and desires about the world. You can make a quick judgment about whether you want to know me or whether you don't want to know me. Qualified in and qualified out quickly.
It'll be the latter normally, of course.
Normally, yeah. Yes, of course. Of course.
So I'm just going to put Andrew Slesser's comment up. So tell me if I'm not allowed to do this.
No, you are. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Here. Big time. Big time. Andrew doesn't mince his words.
Clearly.
Over so many video calls.
That's great comment, Graham.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a video made once on LinkedIn where a new prospect sat down in front of a sales manager at lunch and asked how he was doing and said, "Sorry, I'm late, I got stuck in traffic." And the guy actually physically threw brochures at him and just shouted, "Brochure, buy my stuff." Brochure. And every question he asked, he said, I'm sorry, I don't understand. We haven't even ordered yet. Brochure, buy my stuff. Brochure, buy my stuff. And lots of organizations are just becoming that ridiculous parody of themselves, just throwing meaningless trash at people and hoping that some of it sticks.
You can spend a lot of money on a machine that will throw brochures at people.
100%.
You can spend a lot of money on a shredder as well.
Can I just say, isn't Vanessa Gartel on fire with acronyms today?
She's absolutely on fire.
Yep, sitting there in a COVID blur, just popping out acronyms. Just amazing. What Andrew said. Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Any other final comments? What are you doing this weekend? Or I'm going to see Heaven 17 tonight.
Oh,
nice.
Temptation.
There's that influence.
Yeah. And the Christians, Heaven 17 and the Christians, which is not anything to do with the church, I would say.
They are a good band, the Christians.
Oh, fabulous.
Not heard them for years.
Yeah,
isn't that a Jimi Hendrix song that Vanessa's
COVID haze.
Oh, it's
COVID haze.
Going through my brain.
Absolutely. What was Hooverville? In Hooverville was a big Christmas song, wasn't it? Yeah, brilliant, fantastic.
Yeah.
Cheers, Rob. I think it's we're coming to the end. Thanks for all the questions. It's been fantastic today.
Fabulous.
Loads and loads of comments. Loads and loads of suggestions. The debate's been fantastic. I've really loved it today. And we're going to be here next week.
Thanks, everyone.
It's been a
all right. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.
I better end.